When you think of Calabrian food, what comes to mind? Probably this: fiery, spicy, and red. The iconic kick of chili peppers in everything from pasta to salami. But what if I told you that for the first 2,500 years of its history, none of that existed? The real story of Calabrian food isn't just about spice. It's a 3,000-year epic of conquest, survival, and constant reinvention. To find the true soul of this cuisine, we have to forget the chili pepper for a minute and start with something the ancient Greeks brought to the party: the olive. Our story kicks off in the 8th century BC when Greek ships landed on the shores of southern Italy. They didn't just visit, they built a network of powerful colonies, a territory so influential they called it Magna Graecia, or Great Greece. Cities you can still visit today, like Reggio Calabria, Sibari, and Crotone, blossomed into buzzing centers of culture and trade. But the Greeks brought more than just brilliant ideas and beautiful buildings. They brought the holy trinity of Mediterranean life: the olive tree, the grapevine, and wheat. They planted the first olive groves that would eventually make Calabria an olive oil powerhouse. They grew grapes with such incredible success that the region earned its name Enochia, the land of wine. And they introduced early visions of pasta, like laganon, a simple flat sheet of dough that's the great 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 grandparent of modern lasagna. This wasn't just farming, it was the birth of a culinary identity. The Greeks laid down the agricultural bedrock of Calabria, introducing the core flavors that would define the region for thousands of years. Every drop of olive oil, every glass of wine, every plate of pasta has its roots right here in the sun drenched soil of Magna Graecia. After the Greeks, the Romans rolled in, conquered the region, and did what they did best: they organized. As master engineers, they built roads and developed sophisticated farming networks, making it easier to grow and move food around. But maybe their most important contribution was perfecting the art of preservation. In a land of scorching summers and iffy harvests, being able to preserve food wasn't a choice. It was the only way to survive. The salting, curing, and drying techniques they mastered would become a signature of Calabrian life. When Rome fell, the Byzantines took over and officially gave the region its name, Calabria. But their rule was tough, with high taxes and constant raids from Saracen pirates. This chaos only doubled down on the need for self-sufficiency. For the average Calabrian, life was all about making every scrap of food last, and pretty soon that necessity would turn into an art form. Now, while the Arabs never fully dominated Calabria like they did in Sicily, their influence on the food was a game changer. Arriving around the 9th century, Arab traders brought a wave of exotic new ingredients that completely woke up the Calabrian palate. They introduced eggplants, which became an instant favorite, along with sugarcane. But most importantly, they brought citrus, lemons, mandarin oranges, and the legendary bergamot orange, a fruit so fragrant and special it's now a symbol of the region, all arrived with Arab cultivators. This was a flavor revolution. That bright, acidic pop of citrus cut through the richness of olive oil and meats, adding a whole new layer of complexity. The Arabs also brought advanced ways to preserve food, especially by packing fish and vegetables in oil, a technique perfectly suited for Calabria's hot climate and one that's still at the heart of its cooking today. For centuries, Calabrian food was a story of olives, grains, and citrus. It was delicious, but it wasn't fiery. It was flavorful, but it wasn't red. All of that changed in the 15th century when the Spanish took control. Their rule over southern Italy lined up perfectly with the Columbian exchange. Spanish ships started bringing a tidal wave of New World ingredients to Calabria's shores. Suddenly, things we think of as fundamentally Italian showed up for the very first time: beans, peppers, and the two most disruptive of them all, the tomato and the red chili pepper, the pepperoncino. It's impossible to overstate the impact of this. The chili pepper, especially, felt right at home in Calabria's warm climate and quickly wove itself into the local culture. It wasn't just a new flavor. It was a perfect tool. Its natural antiseptic qualities made it a fantastic preservative for meats, a discovery that would lead to Calabria's most famous creation. The arrival of the pepperoncino didn't just add to Calabrian cuisine, it detonated inside it, creating the bold, spicy identity the world knows today. To really get Calabrian food, you have to understand its guiding principle. Cucina povera. It translates to peasant cooking or poor kitchen, but don't let the name fool you. It's not about a lack of flavor. It's a philosophy born from centuries of hardship and isolation, a monument to the genius of turning humble, cheap ingredients into something extraordinary. Cucina povera is about using absolutely everything and wasting absolutely nothing. It's about foraging for wild greens, using stale bread to thicken sauce or to stand in for cheese, and turning the less wanted cuts of meat into incredible delicacies. Those preservation methods, curing salami, pickling vegetables in oil, sotto olio, and salting fish, weren't just quaint traditions. They were survival skills that blossomed into celebrated culinary arts. This philosophy is the beating heart of Calabria. It's what gives the food its soul. It's the resilience of a people who learned to spin gold from simple thread, creating a cuisine that is honest, resourceful, and deeply, profoundly delicious. If you're loving this journey through food history, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. It lets us know that you want more deep dives into the real stories behind your favorite foods. This rich, layered history is alive and well in Calabria's most famous dishes. First up, the undisputed king, Nuggia. This is a fiery, spreadable salami, and it's the ultimate taste of Calabrian history. It's a product of Cucina Povera, originally created to use up the leftover bits of the pig so nothing was wasted. And it's defined by that Spanish influence, packed with so much pepperoncino that the chili itself acts as a natural preservative. Soft, spicy, and unbelievably flavorful, it's spread on bread or melted into pasta sauces, a perfect marriage of peasant ingenuity and New World fire. Next, let's talk pasta. Lagne et cicciari is a dish that sends you back in time. It features wide ribbons of pasta, an echo of the ancient Greek laganon, served with chickpeas cooked simply with garlic and oil. It's a creamy, hearty dish that represents the soul of Cucina Povera long before the tomato showed up. Then there's faleia, the pasta shape you'll only find in Calabria. It's made by wrapping dough around a thin rod, and its tight coils are perfect for grabbing onto sauce. Often see it with a rich ragu with sweet tropea onions, tomatoes, and eggplant, a dish that shows off the best of what the land has to offer. And you can't forget the vegetables. Calabrians are masters of making humble produce shine. Melanzane ripiene, or stuffed eggplants, are filled with breadcrumbs, cheese, and herbs, a classic example of making a little go a long way. Pipicchini, or stuffed peppers, are another tribute to resourcefulness, filled with what's ever around, whether that's bread, rice, meat, or cheese. Calabria's landscape is as diverse as its history, and its food follows suit. Along its 500 miles of coastline, the cuisine is all about the sea. Ancient swordfish fishing traditions dating back to at least the 2nd century BC are still practiced today, with fresh fish starring in coastal dishes. But head inland to the rugged Sila Mountains and the food changes completely. Here the cooking is heartier, built on the traditions of shepherds and farmers. You'll find dishes like rigatoni alla Salana, a powerful pasta with porcini mushrooms, rich tomato sauce, cured sausage, and sharp local cheeses like Caciocavallo and Pecorino. This is mountain food built for comfort and fuel. And for the most hardcore expression of Cucina Povera, there's Morzello. This is a legendary stew made from veal offal, tripe, heart, and lungs, slow cooked in a spicy tomato sauce. It's traditionally served inside a ring of local bread called pita and embodies the nose-to-tail philosophy of using every single part of the animal. It's a powerful taste of history that's still loved today. So what are the true origins of Calabrian food? The truth is, there's no single answer. Calabrian cuisine is a 3,000-year-old mosaic built layer by every culture that has landed on its shores. The Greeks gave it the olive oil and the vine. The Romans brought order and infrastructure. The Arabs gave it the magic of citrus and new ways to make food last. And the Spanish brought the fire of the chili pepper that would forever change its identity. But through it all, through centuries of conquest and hardship, it was the Calabrian people who gave the cuisine its soul. They took what they were given, what they could find, and what they could grow, and through the brilliant philosophy of cucina povera, they created something entirely their own. A cuisine that's bold, resilient, and born from the beautiful, rugged landscape of Italy's toe. It's a story of how history, when simmered over 3,000 years, becomes tradition. What was the most surprising part of this story for you? And what's your all-time favorite Calabrian dish? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching.